The night I graduated, the night I was supposed to be celebrating the biggest achievement of my life, and my own family opened the front door and told me to leave. Not tomorrow. Not after dinner. Right then, in the rain. My father looked me dead in the eyes and said 7 words I will never forget. You will never amount to anything. Pause and let it breathe. I stood there in a soaked dress, holding a suitcase with one hand and 11 years of pain in the other. But here's what they didn't know. 11 years later, I walked into my sister's wedding, and the entire room stopped. Slow, reflective tone. Most people talk about their childhood like it's a warm place they can return to when life gets hard. Mine felt more like a hallway. Narrow, cold, echoing, lined with doors that only opened for one person. My younger sister, Grace. My father, Rowan, ran a medical clinic in our town. He carried himself like every opinion he had was a clinical diagnosis. My mother, Helen, was his mirror. She repeated his beliefs like gospel, nodding along to every word he said. And Grace? Grace learned early that being the favorite was a full-time job. She played the role perfectly. Soft voice, wide eyes, a talent for looking helpless at exactly the right moment. I used to watch her from the hallway as a teenager. My father hunched over her homework, my mother carefully styling her hair before a piano recital. I'd be standing there with my backpack still on my back, holding straight A's in my hand. Pause. Grades they never asked to see. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself fairness was a luxury some of us just didn't get. But cracks form quietly, long before anything breaks. So I worked. Afternoons, weekends, I stacked shelves at a grocery store and saved every single dollar in a small tin box under my bed. My road out. When my college acceptance letter arrived, I cried in the parking lot behind the supermarket, still wearing my work apron. Grace got balloons, a cake, a family dinner. I got silence, but I kept going. Because I had something they couldn't take. The version of myself I was becoming, one quiet step at a time. I put myself through school. I worked night shifts at a hospital front desk, studying between patient check-ins, surviving on bad coffee and stubborn determination. That's where I met Evan. He was a resident, sharp, kind, the type of person who noticed when you hadn't eaten or had fallen asleep on your notes. He didn't push me to talk about my family. Maybe he sensed that the truth was locked behind a door I wasn't ready to open. Eventually, that door opened, and so did everything else. We built something together. A real life. A home that didn't come with conditions in the fine print. And then came Liam, our son, a miracle wrapped in laughter and sticky fingers. A daily reminder that I was capable of creating something far better than what I came from. For a long time, I avoided everything that carried a family name. Old photographs, holiday gatherings, even the city block where their clinic stood. I buried that chapter and built a new one, brick by brick. Then the wedding invitation arrived. It came in a plain envelope. My sister's name printed neatly on the return address. I sat with it for a long time. I didn't want to go, not really. But there was a weight inside that envelope I couldn't name. And deep down, I knew something. Walking into that room would mean opening a door I had kept shut for over a decade. I went anyway. If the past had a temperature, that reception hall felt exactly like it. Too bright, too polished, too carefully arranged. Like a scene designed to pretend nothing had ever happened. Chandeliers poured gold onto marble floors. Guests floated past in tailored suits and silk dresses. The whole room hummed with elegance. I stood at the entrance for a moment, smoothed the front of my dress, steadied my breath. Evan placed a calm hand on my back. Liam tugged at my fingers. Neck craned toward the towering cake at the other end of the room. "Mom," he whispered, "do we know anyone here?" Just ghosts, I thought. We stepped inside. The conversations didn't stop, but they shifted. Subtle, like curtains stirring in a breeze. Faces turned. Eyes widened. A quiet recognition rippling outward in small waves. Some of the doctors paused, mid-sentence when they saw the name on the place card at the entrance. I was used to that reaction in professional circles. Not here. Not at a family wedding where the same people had once sworn I would never be anything. Grace appeared first. She turned toward me with the exact expression I remembered from childhood, surprise dissolving into calculation, calculation curdling into something close to panic. Her white dress shimmered under the lights, but her shoulders pulled tight. The smile she tried to form trembled at the edges. "Adeline," she breathed. Like saying my name out loud might summon a verdict she wasn't prepared for. Behind her, my parents froze. My father's jaw locked. My mother's hand flew to her necklace, a reflex she always had when caught off guard, as if clutching pearls could rewrite history. "Why are you here?" my mother whispered. I raised the invitation just slightly. "I was invited." Before anyone could respond, a man stepped forward beside Grace. Broad shoulders, steady gaze, the kind of posture that comes from years of medical training. Daniel, her husband, the groom. He studied me with calm, clinical curiosity. His eyes moved from my face to the name on my badge, and something sharpened in his expression. "You know each other?" he asked, his gaze moving slowly, between me and the family that suddenly looked like they were standing on cracking ice. The question landed in the silence like a stone. Grace stiffened. My parents went pale. Nearby guests slowed their steps. I felt that old pain pull at my ribs, the memory of rain, a slamming door, words carved into me on the night they pushed me out. But beneath that pain was something steadier, stronger, the woman I had become. I smiled. "Too well," I said quietly. Daniel blinked. And in that small flicker of confusion, I watched the first thread come loose. Grace tried to recover first. She gave a brittle laugh. The same one she used to offer teachers when she hadn't done the reading. "We just haven't seen each other in forever," she said, reaching for Daniel's arm like it was a life raft. He didn't lean into her touch. He kept looking at me. "Your last name is Hart," he said slowly. "Same as hers. But she never mentioned having an older sister." "She doesn't like talking about the past," my mother cut in sharply. "Today is a happy day. Let's keep it that way." But her voice shook, and Daniel heard it. He turned back to Grace, quieter this time. "Why didn't you tell me you had a sister?" Grace opened her mouth, closed it. "It just never came up," she said. The weak answer hung in the air like smoke. Evan pressed my hand gently. Liam tugged at my dress. "Mom, can I have cake yet?" "Soon," I whispered. Grace stepped closer to me, her voice dropping so only I could hear. "Why are you doing this? Why now?" I looked at her steadily. "I didn't know I needed your permission to exist," I said. Her eyes went wide, not with guilt, with panic. A moment later, she disappeared into the hallway, heels clicking too fast for a bride. My mother followed. My father stayed. He stared at me like I had come to tear down something he had spent years building. "Adeline," he said, his voice low and brittle. "I don't know what you're trying to do, but this is not the place." That old instinct flickered in me, the one trained since childhood to shrink, to apologize, to make myself smaller so everyone else could breathe easier. It flickered. Then it went out. "I'm not trying to do anything," I said calmly. "I was invited to a wedding. So I came." He stared at me, and I watched him do what powerful people do when they realize the script they've always relied on doesn't work anymore. Daniel watched all of it. "I think I'm just surprised," he said carefully. "Grace told me she basically ran the family clinic alone for years, that her parents depended on her, that she was the one who stayed." My eyebrows lifted, just slightly. "Did she?" I said. Grace was pale now. The room had shifted around us without anyone announcing it. Evan stood beside me like an anchor, and somewhere in the quiet, something moved that couldn't be unmoved. I didn't go to that wedding for revenge. I want to be clear about that. I went because something inside me needed to stop running from a door I had been scared of for 11 years. And when I walked through it, I didn't find the monsters I remembered. I found people who were smaller than the pain they caused. My father didn't break me the night he threw me out. He just moved the deadline. Because the woman I built, on night shifts, and tin boxes and borrowed courage and love that didn't come with conditions, she showed up to that wedding. She walked through that door, and she didn't flinch. If someone in your life has ever told you that you'll never amount to anything, I need you to hear this. They were wrong. Not eventually. Not after you prove it. They were wrong the moment they said it. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to keep walking. If this story hit close to home, drop a comment. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this today, share it with them. I'll see you in the next one.